What's up, Vikings fans? Welcome back to another episode of Skoldiers Spice here on the Vikings First and Skol Network. I am your host, Sally, and we are entering week 2 of Vikings free agency. Can you believe it? The Vikings are getting national praise for all that they have done so far. Tonight, we are going to catch up on the moves that they have made since I last chatted with you guys on Thursday night and what could potentially go down since then, or what could potentially go down after tonight. One thing that has not evolved since Thursday, though, is those pesky Aaron Rodgers rumors. They refuse to die. And since the Vikings still have not signed a QB2, a new rumor is gaining some steam. I have YouTuber and fellow Virginian VIKERR here with me tonight to tackle all of these topics and maybe a few more. So let's get into it. Owner. Hello, Travis. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. I'm so excited to have you on tonight and get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate it.
Like I said, I think I alluded to this last episode for anyone who wasn't here, but I've been taking quite a Twitter break this off season. I keep deleting. And then I had to come back last week because the thing is, I've got nobody's contact information. Couldn't get in touch with SK, couldn't get in touch with Rap, amongst other people. So I'm like, oh shit, I got to come back on here. And then in that time, somebody had retweeted you. So had never seen your account before. I went to it and I saw that you were from Virginia. I'm from Virginia, as everybody is probably sick of hearing about, but I moved here 10 years ago. So I was like, oh my God, and this guy makes content. I got to talk to him. So I am so happy that we could connect. But I was curious. So we're going to start out. I need to get to know a little bit about you since this is the first time we've chatted. How did you become a Vikings fan all the way down there in Virginia?
It's kind of the same path as a lot of fans that I've come to learn. It's the 2009 season when the off season before that when the Brett Favre watch is he going to go to Minnesota, the plane landing on the tarmac. I was just locked in on NFL Network that
Mhm.
entire summer for that, and that just kind of I was always a Brett Favre guy, just watching NFL and coming up, and I said, if he goes to Minnesota, that's going to be insane. I'm going to pull for him if he does. And then I'm at Dick's Sporting Goods. One day he'd already signed with Minnesota. They had the jerseys already on the rack, like ready to
Oh,
go, and I was
wow.
like, what? Like they're selling Vikings jerseys down here? So I grabbed one, paid a lot of money for it. I couldn't tell you where it's at now as I've moved so much, but yeah, I became a fan. I was locked in 2009 season.
Wow, can't believe they were down there.
Yeah,
I My mom just happened to be in Minnesota visiting at the time when he signed, so she grabbed me a jersey, and I remember even thinking that was crazy that they had them here that quickly. So I can't believe they were in Virginia because it was impossible to find Viking stuff there in general sometimes. Well, most of the time.
it was like about a few weeks, maybe about a month or so after he had signed. It wasn't right away, but it definitely caught me by surprise. I was in there one day buying paintball stuff, and I just seen the rack, and I was like, "Whoa, Red Favre!" And I was like, "They got an XL," and I was like, I grabbed it, and I was like, "Man," I was hooked.
That's awesome. So before that, were you just like an NFL fan in general, or did you have a team before that you kind of left behind?
Washington mainly because everyone down here, in Virginia,
Mhm.
and then a lot of my family as well, Washington, and but as a kid, I just kind of like Brett Favre. I always
Okay.
picked Green Bay on Madden. Don't kill me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just kind of how it was, and then he's kind of what led me here. So
Yeah. Oh my God, that's actually really cool. Yeah, people don't realize, at least for me in Richmond, which is a little bit away from where you were from, but it's you would think it would be overwhelmingly Washington, but I feel like where I was at, it was more Dallas than Washington. It was a hefty mix of those two, and then NFC East, all NFC East, but mostly Dallas. I'm assuming I'm actually probably a little bit older than you two, but it was just such a weird mix down there for only being 2 hours south of Washington. I don't know why it was like that, but
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
yeah. But let's say what up to the chat really quick, because wow, we already have 55 people in here, you guys. I saw Rap was here, so and so nice to see you.
Rap.
I had so much talking to Rap last week, and I saw you were on Rap's live. Was that Saturday?
Friday or Saturday?
Yeah,
Friday. Friday. It was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday night.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
fun episode. Lots of fun quarterback controversy that day. We will be talking about it, you guys, for sure. We're going to wait a little bit into the episode though, because I know once we start talking about it, we will never stop talking about it.
Yeah.
To Evil, happy membership anniversary. Daniel's here, Julian, Kevin, Delton's here. He doesn't want to talk about the backup. Delton, I was with you. I was over talking about the backups too. I'm like, who cares? But I don't know. It's honestly, it's getting a little juicy. Brandon, Alex, Bulldog is here. He said that his mom was a professor at VCU. I actually went to VCU, and VCU is playing BYU in the tournament coming up. And Dave was actually informing me that the Vikings they're looking at a guy from BYU. So that's why I said to Dave before we started, man, BYU is all up in my face right now. Okay, Norspius, hey. He said, that's no Vikings fan, that's Brian Dayball. Has anyone ever told you that before?
Yeah. Who said that?
Norspius.
I think he said that before. Yeah. He loves to give me shit.
Bob Sweet is here. He's talking about Wentz. Like I said, we'll get into it. JB, he's happy to see you, Dolly. I sent you something in the mail, by the way, and it's delayed, JB, so keep an eye out for that. Cooper Rush. He signed with the Ravens. Okay, I missed that. All right, you guys, we'll catch up with you in a little bit, but okay, cool. We were talking, I don't know if anybody even cares about this, but I kind of care about it because we were talking, well, whatever, we'll get into it. We were talking about the Civil War because we were talking about the Civil War because growing up in Virginia, you guys, all we do really is the Civil War. You had mentioned to me when we were chatting that you were from Appomattox, and I was like, oh my God, I have been there one time because we went there on a field trip when I was in elementary school, which is a little heavy of a destination to go to in elementary school. But
it is. Yeah.
They don't really care in Virginia. They're taking you to a battlefield any opportunity they can get, even if it's just like a field with a couple trenches in it that are like 4 feet deep. They're taking you to see it.
Yeah.
So that was the only time I recall going to Appomattox. But it is crazy how people don't think of Virginia as very south because geographically it's not. But culturally, it really is.
It's almost deep south. I wouldn't say deep south, but it's close. It really is. And a lot of folks always refer to it as mid-Atlantic. I'm like, yeah, I get we were the closest to the Mason-Dixon line, but it's pretty hillbilly out here at times. But
yeah, and I get it. Probably like all states have those like rural areas, but the history there. I mean, we learn about the freaking Civil War all day, every day, and I mean, my mascot in high school is the Confederate, like literally the Confederate soldier. It's
nice.
just it's just what it is there. So we got Bulldog shouting out Jamestown, Monticello, Mount Vernon, the DC Zoo in 3rd grade. I didn't get to go there till 5th grade, so you're pretty spoiled.
Man, we never got to go to DC. We were supposed to go to DC, I think it was 7th grade, but then like a month before that was 9/11, so they just like, nah, we're not going to DC. We're shutting that down. So yeah.
How old
unfortunately,
are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, okay. I'm 38, so yeah, I guess we're.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah.
Virginia
Nice.
is for lovers. That's true. That's true. But all right, let's go ahead and move on. We got 65 people in here, and they probably don't care about our field trips. But if you guys ever do care about your field trips, I'm happy. I'm happy to host an episode just walking you
We'll
down
do a
what we
whole
did.
episode on the
Yeah,
Civil War and cannonballs and field trips. That'll
yeah,
be next week.
yeah, exactly. And Dave was just telling us that he found some Civil War cannonballs in his yard. So we've got a lot to offer. Oh man, Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is my shit.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I was just there last year. So
Yeah,
fun.
we're so spoiled in Virginia with the amusement
Yeah,
park.
we were King's Dominion, all that stuff. Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
Ever since Paramount sold Kings Dominion, it's just not the same. But
It's not, but it's still a time. It's still fun.
yeah, Valley Fair ain't got nothing on any of that, you guys. I'm sorry to tell you, but all right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about what has happened since we were last here on Thursday. The Vikings had some pickups. We had Eric Wilson rejoin the Vikings from the Packers. Welcome back to him. I was excited to see him because my first thought was, damn, all right, maybe Lizzo will come back to have something to say. I don't know how I had this wrong all these years. I thought that damn song was about Eric Wilson. And somebody corrected me and told me that Eric Thompson has said this whole time it was about Terrence Newman, which makes sense. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know how I missed this. So, anyway, that's not really either here nor there, but that was my initial excitement. Are you excited to see Eric Wilson back in purple?
I am excited because he came from the dark side. I guess he had a little stint over there, and he might have a little intel for us, especially on the defensive side. But yeah, I'm always open to the boys coming back home and being where they're supposed to be. And he's still playing at a pretty good level, and he's going to be a decent depth option for us. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. It should be a good time for him, and I'm happy to see him back on the good side, back in purple.
Agreed. It's always nice to have him back for over there. I got to be honest, I haven't followed what he's been up to much since then, but also happy to have him back. He was great when he was here. The guy's got a great smile. He's happy to play. Always super positive. So I'm happy to have him back. But we've also got some other ones. I think for me personally, the most exciting is running back Jordan Mason from the 49ers. Vikings only had to give up a 6th-round pick next year in 2026, and otherwise I think they're moving back. They're moving back because they're swapping picks this year with the 49ers. But he was really good last year when he was filling in for Christian McCaffrey in his injury, averaging over 5 yards per carry. And Kevin O'Connell has said that he wants to do more of a running back by committee this year. What sort of impact do you think that he will be able to make this season on the running game?
He's definitely going to take a lot of the load off Aaron Jones, which is something that we needed. And Aaron Jones is at his age and his size is still a premier running back in the league. He had a career season with us last year, but Jordan Mason's going to be able to come in there. He's a thumper. He's going to run you over. He's going to pass block. He's going to do all the things that you need him to do, that you want him to do. But more importantly, he's going to take that load off Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was just kind of run through the ringer last year because other than Cam Akers stepping in every now and then, I mean, he was really our only option.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I was shocked when I saw it. I mean, that wasn't even on anyone's radar. Yeah, I was actually watching a rap show, I believe that night, Saturday night, and it came in. We all got to react to it live, so it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too. It is kind of surprising how minimal they had to give up for it. Reminded me of what they gave up for Cam Akers a few years ago. That was also only a 6th-round pick that didn't end up really having the payoff because he had that Achilles injury, unfortunately, so soon after. But yeah, I think it's a great move, especially because they do need that help. And Aaron Jones, as good as he was last year, he struggled to make it through entire games without having little injuries flare up. So I think it will be um, a huge improvement for them. But I don't know. I didn't check. Has he been involved in the passing game much? Is he somebody that they can rely on there, as far as you know?
I have to go back and look. I didn't watch a lot of 49ers games last season. Really, the only one I watched was the one when we played them in week two. But
Right.
um, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be. Again, I got to go back and look at the tape. That's a good question. That'll be something that'd be a huge asset for us. I mean, Aaron Jones is already pretty good in the pass game as well. He was definitely a step up from Madison
Yeah.
in so many areas, but definitely in the passing game, being able to catch out of the backfield. I know there's a couple times him and Darnold were kind of off sync. We had a couple fumbles not go
Yeah.
our way, a couple turnovers. They just weren't in sync, but that was mainly on toss and options and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a good question. It's something I need to go back and look at, but I don't see why he couldn't. He does everything else you would really need him to do. He just kind of steps
Right.
up into a role and does it. So if he can do that, huge asset, and even more better that we got him.
Yeah, I pulled up the stats on him before we got started, and I didn't end up jotting it down about his past contributions. I don't think that they were anything that significant, but it would be nice if he could get in the mix there. I just laughed because I saw Two Evil say that Blake Bortles in purple makes sense, and that just
Oh
cracked me
man,
up. I know he's trolling, but
love some Blake Bortles. Just
that poor 2011 draft class with Christian Ponder, just none of those guys. Him, Jake Locker, just oh man, what a terrible QB draft class. And honestly, I'm surprised that this chat was just popping off about all of the amusement parks, Kings Dominion, the Busch Gardens. So maybe we might have to talk about. We got people talking about Monument Avenue. So
okay.
we might have to have a little Virginia episode sometime here when on the slow season between the draft and training camp when there's nothing going on here. But yeah, let's see. Who else did we pick up here that there is to be excited about? We have Jeff Okudah, who not from the Lions most recently, but who was third overall pick in 2020, but has just been plagued by injuries. Is that one that really raises the needle for you at all?
Not really. I really wanted Shaq Griffin back. It kind of sounds like with this move, it's probably not going to happen. Now, I mean, Shaq could pull the veteran move and, just kind of wait around till after camp's over with and sign with us, or, it seems like the veteran thing to do. But it doesn't move the needle. But this is someone that I think B-Flow has kind of identified as a good rotational guy. If he can fix them, I'm all for it. You touched on the injuries. He's just kind of hopped around the league a little bit. He's a former first round pick. I believe there's something there. Just got to find it. And, I mean, he's depth at a much needed, position in corner. And so, not a needle mover, but I'm satisfied. I'll take it.
Yeah, it seems like the jury is just too soon to say. The jury's just so out on him because of those injuries. Unfortunately, rookie year he had an abdominal injury, and then I believe after that it was an Achilles injury. So just the guy just can't catch a break. It seems like, and at cornerback they did have a couple 1-year deals last year. So hopefully he can get something together. I hope for his sake, because that just is you hate to see that a guy with so much promise go through those kind of injuries. But I did see JB dropped in the chat 11 catches for 91 yards last season. And obviously once McCaffrey came back, he wasn't getting as many snaps as he was before. So that's promising, potentially, without seeing the 22 wide. I did see somebody else say that he's not a run blocker, though. I don't know if that's true, but Too Evil, you need to stop in the chat because I can't keep a straight face when I read this stuff. Can we trade Addison for Zach Wilson? I mean, it's too much for me.
No one's mom is safe in Minnesota if Zach Wilson comes to town.
No. We got shout out to Water Country USA. I mean, this is
yeah, that's an underdog place right there. That's an underdog place. If you like walking around completely soaking wet all day long, that's the place to go.
I haven't been there in forever. But
man, nothing like sharing a pool with everyone. That's just what a place.
Yeah, the wave pool.
Yeah.
I remember I saw a condom floating in there one time. Like, who the fuck is banging in the wave pool?
Yeah, it's literally a cesspool. Literally a cesspool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, who's got the thrusting of talents in the wave pool? I mean, I guess
in the wave pool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a dog right there. Sign him up, free agency. You got to sign him up. That's a dog. B-Flow would rotate that guy in.
Well, it's like at first thought, it's like, oh, okay, well, that was nice of them to wear the condoms so, the stuff didn't get out for everyone else in the wave pool, but then they left it behind. So it obviously wasn't a common
It got
courtesy.
out. Yeah, yeah. Added more swimmers to the pool for sure.
Oh, man. Hey, Jay. Good to see you. Oh, man. All right. Okay. Let's see. Who else did they add anyone else we need to chat about? Well, that you wanted to mention, everyone else was just kind of like miss, like some practice squad worthy guys that
Yeah.
Oh, Tim
Yeah, I think
Jones from Jacksonville, which he didn't do much. Wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a special teams guy more than likely. Yeah, I think all the flair and the big names was in the first week of opening tampering. So, but hey, I'm excited for all of them. They're in purple. They're on the good side. So I'm gonna support all of them and hope all of them make the team. And realistically, they can't. But you hope the best for them. Hope they all have a good camp. And I'm ready to rock with all of them.
Yeah, same. Oh my gosh, you guys, we got 90 people in here. That is the most we have had in a minute. So thank you guys for joining. Definitely like and subscribe if you have not already. I'm really happy to see you guys. Appreciate it. And don't worry, we'll be getting into the QB stuff soon because I heard that VIKERR had some very hot takes. It's been taking it on Twitter all week, took it on Purple Daily. So we will be getting to it. Do not worry. But because we got to give the Vikes some flowers here, they have been getting some national attention for this first week of free agency. I kind of scrolled through what all of the grades were, and I only saw maybe a couple Bs from some national news outlets. I think maybe USA Today, and it doesn't matter because fuck them if they gave them a B. But mostly all A's across the board, and PFF at the top with an A plus. Out of all 32 teams, the only A plus that they gave was to the Vikings. They gave, I don't know, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 other teams A's or A minus. Well, no, Broncos an A, and then 5 A minuses, but pretty high accolades then from PFF. Are you a guy that feels comfortable when the Vikings get national attention on that scale, or do you kind of like shy away, like you would rather them fly under the radar?
I absolutely hate when we get national attention because we always choke in the biggest moments, whether it's a game or we have a good free agency, which we haven't had a huge free agency like this in a long time. But I don't like it, but I will say give credit when credit's due. It's good to see that the boys get the recognition in the front office and the coaching staff as well. But especially because Kwesi gets so much hate. About his drafts and rightfully so, But it's good to see him, get shown some love on the national level. But to be honest, I just hate it. I don't talk about us at all. Just talk about us in February when we finally make the Super Bowl. You can talk about us then, but until then, leave us out of the headlines and all the clickbait. Just let us be.
I agree with you for the most part, especially once the season starts and then when everyone starts looking, which I know I keep saying that, but say Aaron Rodgers ever were to work out. There's so many reasons why I don't love the idea, but being in all the national spotlight that will bring, all of the attention, all of the primetime games, it will be every single episode of SportsCenter at some point until the entire season pretty much at some point. I just want no part of that. It's too many eyes. It never works out well. It's just rather everyone doubt them until the very end and then we can talk about it. So but I agree with this grade. I think this is the best free agency acquisition season. I'm saying that incorrectly, but best free agency that I can remember seeing, pretty much that I can think of. Maybe that Jared Allen trade was, I don't know, that was obviously mind blowing and no one saw that coming. So that was pretty great, and worked out very well. But I think with this thing is the same with drafts. They can all look great in the beginning, but you got to see how they play out. Obviously, if people end up getting injured, unfortunately, or they don't end up panning out, well, then a year or two down the road, they can look like shit too. So
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with them working on the offensive line. That's something we've been complaining about forever. And if you got a young quarterback, you got to work on it. And then the interior defensive line, I think that's the most important things that they needed to work on. And so nice to see somebody actually work on the areas of need for once.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us fans have been just pounding the table for the interior, the trenches on both sides of the ball. Just fix it, add to it, draft it, whatever cap space you have, use it. We finally had the cap space, finally got the money to do some things, and they're doing it. And so it looks good on paper, but I'm excited about what it's going to look like on the field too.
Yes, exactly. What's up, Sarah? And what's up, Two Tone? Nice to see you guys. Whew, I don't know if y'all heard that, but Dolly is obviously bored of this free agency talk with that snore. Well, speaking of cap space, they did cut Bradbury, which was not a surprise, but they moved around some of that cap money and decided to stretch it out over the 2 years, which is fueling rumors that they could be amping up for a big trade. If that wasn't for a quarterback, because let's take that off the table, could you picture them maybe trading for another position with this additional money?
Yeah, I mean, this is more of just throwing some at the wall and see if it sticks. More of speculation, and you see it all on Twitter all the time. But I like my chicken with sauce. So I mean, Sauce Gardner. I mean, just inject that into my veins. Give me Sauce Gardner. I see all the Twitter rumors. That guy Dave, I just followed him today, by the way. But that guy Dave has been pushing it, and apparently he's hit on a bunch of things in the past. So, yeah, if they're gearing up for a big trade, make it happen. Look, the Rodgers kid they signed out of Philadelphia was like their first day free agency. They're signing. Good rotational guy. He didn't have a major role really anywhere he's played, but I think he could be a dog. I think he could step up, but I don't know. I mean, go ahead, and if you're going to make the trade for somebody, and you're moving all this cap space around, you're pushing all these contracts into next year, and we're already like $8-9 million over cap for next season, and they're up to something. So if it's not for quarterback, make it for cornerback, and let's get saucy. Let's do it.
Yeah, we don't put sauce on the side in Virginia, so
No, we take all the sauce. We'll take all the sauce we can get, and
we're not scared of a little spice in Virginia, so we're here for it. Yeah, that would be a big splash like that, like Sauce Gardner. I could certainly get behind that. I mentioned the Jared Allen trade, from years ago, and how cool that was, and how that worked out. And look, now we've got the guy going into the Hall of Fame as a Viking, which he's one of the most memorable players, at least as my lifetime as a Vikings fan. So that would all be super cool to see them replicate with a guy like Sauce Gardner if we could make it happen. And Delton is making me laugh because he said time to hit the wave pool. Ready to hit the wave pool. But yeah, okay. So Bradbury, good riddance. We've got said goodbye to Ed Ingram, and I am just looking forward to Vikings fans on Twitter. They are going to have to find some new stuff to complain about this season, and we're going to have to see the witty new nicknames that you guys come up with, because we can't keep pouncing on those two. So I love spice and sauce. Well, me too. All right, well, let's get into this quarterback stuff, because everybody's dying for it. Everybody wants to talk about it. The Vikings still have not signed a QB2, which a few days ago I was like, who really cares? There's tons of guys of the same caliber out there, but it's been a long time at this point. And I wasn't aware of this, but you said that you had called into Purple Daily on Friday, and you had a very interesting take that people have strong opinions on. So why don't you catch me up on that?
Yeah, so I decided last minute to send it into the little anonymous tip line thing, and but I told Phil, I was like, I don't want to be anonymous, man. Just put me out there. I want all the smoke. I want all the backlash, because I know everybody. Well, not everybody, but most everybody in this fan base doesn't really have much good things to say about old Kirko Chains. But 2 weeks ago now, I was at Liberty University. I was at a conference. Joe Theismann was there. Riley Leonard from Notre Dame was there, and so was Kirk Cousins. And um, I took me and my two sons and I. We all went, and we actually paid for the little meet and greet thing to kind of hang out with Kirk for a second, get a photo, chat with him, and we were all wearing Viking stuff, and he was like, "Oh, Vikings, man," and he was asking my youngest son, "Are you really a fan? Are you just wearing that?" And he was like, "Nah, I really love the Vikings," and whatever. So he was just chit chatting, and he was like, "Yeah, didn't really enjoy coming back this season. Didn't enjoy losing. That wasn't a good time, but really enjoyed being back up there. We really miss it up there." And he's like, "My wife really didn't. She had a hard time adjusting and had a hard time moving away." And I'm thinking, well, his wife, her family's from Georgia, like they're from Atlanta, so I figured that would be like a perfect fit. But he's going on
Right.
and on about how they just had a tough time adjusting, and how he's how they miss Minnesota, even though he made $100 million, guaranteed. They had a hard time adjusting that apparently. But then he goes on into the conference. He's speaking at this conference, and they just kind of say, "Hey, elephant in the room, you were benched. How'd you take that? Adversity." And so he kind of talked about that. And then they were like, "Well, so what's next? You're gonna, what's the plan for, you're under contract and all that?" And he's, "Oh, well, talked to my agent this morning, and so that right there, boom, boom, boom. He's he's
Oh,
he's
yeah.
he's trying to move. He's trying to wiggle out of there." So he said, "Oh, well, I talked to my agent this morning." He was just completely candid about the whole thing, and so
Wow.
he's like, "I talked to my agent. He kind of gave me what options are out there, and just kind of how he explained it to me was there's really nothing left besides QB2." So I put all that together, and I was just kind of thinking to myself, and all week long I was like, "This is he hoping? Is he hoping they cut him?" Because that deadline was coming up a week later, which was this past Saturday
Yeah.
by 4 p.m. If they don't cut them, they owe him $10 million. I'm thinking, man, if they cut Cousins, I mean, I know they paid him $100 million, but are they going to pay him another 10 to sit on the
Mhm.
bench? So he wants out. I think they want to split too. I was like, man, if they cut him, I think KOC is going to go get Kurt back and have him as the QB2. So I sent all that to Phil and them, and they read it on there, and then I put it on Twitter. And I was like, if I'm wrong, I'll delete Twitter. Like I'm this like I'm this locked in on it. Like I know what's gonna happen. And he didn't get cut. They gave him the $10 million on
Yeah.
Saturday. Atlanta did. He didn't get cut. But there's now other beat writers, that cover the Vikings are now pushing this theory. And even Adam Schefter talked about it today. He's even in on it, how they may even trade for Kirk Cousins um,
Really?
post draft. So, I mean, yeah, I was wrong on him being cut, but
Do you
I
think they're
think Kirk
stealing the take from you? You think the little birdie, they heard what you said somehow, and they're because you're the inside source? Because you
probably
talked to him
not,
firsthand.
probably not,
I
probably
mean,
not. I like to think that'd be a cool thought before I lay down at night and went to sleep, but
well,
no, probably not. But I mean, I
if you
look,
look,
I just got absolutely, like I said, I got raked over the coals for, and they're like, "Oh, you want Kirk back? You're a Kirk stan, you're a Kirk crusader." I'm like, "No, I'm just looking at viable QB2 options, and he's somebody who knows the offense if shit hit the fan, so I think we all said, "Oh man, what would Kirk look like if he didn't have a stupid contract and we can actually build the team around him?" Well, now the team's built. Okay, he comes in. God forbid. Here's me knocking on wood. God forbid something happens to my little boy JJ. We got to put Kirko out there. I don't think he's going to shit the bed that bad. So, I mean, he knows the offense. He knows the coaching staff. He gets to work with Josh McCown. He gets to be a mentor. He's not an asshole. He's not someone who's going to come in and just, be a complete, POS. He's gonna mentor JJ. I think if that were to happen, but everyone else hates that theory. They don't want Kirk back, and I understand that. I fully understand that because the way he left, he didn't want to mentor anybody, and he wanted more
Mhm.
money.
Yeah,
And so he just kind of said, "Well, I'm just going to leave." Now he's in a shitty situation. Now he wants to possibly come crawling back.
yeah.
But yeah, no one likes that theory, and it's just a theory. It's just a theory. I didn't say
Well,
it was going to happen. It's just
yeah.
no one likes it though.
Well, I get it where you're coming from since you directly talk to him, and I guarantee you're the only person, certainly in this 100 plus person viewing room, that talked to him, and probably the only person that heard that argument on Purple Daily or on Twitter that has talked to him. So I totally get where you got that idea from, and that was my thought when you were telling the story was, okay, Kirk, be careful what you wish for, because
Yeah.
you chased the money. You could have stayed here, not had to move, and not had to, if what you're saying with what Julie and transitioning and all that, you could have avoided that, but you chose not to. So it's hard to feel bad for you. But I'm not going to hate on Kirk Cousins tonight, you guys. I'm in too good of a mood today. I'm not going to do it. But I did see when that they ended up still paying him that bonus. I thought, well, it seems like he's probably going to stay here. But you do bring up an interesting point. I had not considered that maybe some draft stuff could happen. And that's coming up so soon. I cannot believe that it's already next month.
I know, it's crazy, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. Best time of the year is the off season.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, I don't think Christmas really has shit on the NFL off season, to be honest. I think this is the best time of the year. I love it. Yeah.
Let me say what's up to Skol Mafia. Hello, thank you for coming in. I did see your message, Skol Mafia, like right before I hopped on here, and I did reach out to him about the hat, and I think I might just end up. He told me he's going to work on it. I think I might just end up giving him your phone number, or you his phone number, or whatever, so that y'all can just chat directly about that, because I don't know. I don't know why the guy won't just make a damn website already, or make it easier to buy his hat. Everybody wants the hat, you know? But there's the chat is just cracking me up. Anthony Webb paid for a meet and greet. He hasn't taken enough of the Vikings money, as if he hasn't taken enough of the Vikings money.
Yeah, it was
Sarah,
not cheap either.
Oh no, was it? Do you want to share how much it was? You don't have to. But.
I'll share. I don't care.
Okay.
You're gonna think I'm rich, but I'm not. It was $75 a pop and 3 tickets. So.
Oh, did you get an autograph with that?
Nah. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I didn't want anything signed anyway. But no, I don't think he was doing autographs. I think someone did bring a Washington helmet. They were holding on to it in line, and I'm like, he's not signing that. There's no way he's signing that, and they did.
Okay. That's actually not as much as I thought it was going to be, honestly.
I mean,
Vikings players here charge more than that.
I would, yeah. That's weird too, because I mean they're in Minnesota, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and an upcharge to sign. But Sarah said Vikers take is gonna get him banned from Twitter for life. Skull Barber loves your hats.
My hat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love this hat too. I caught it. It kept showing up on like an advertisement on Facebook, and then finally they marked the price down. I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy it. So yeah.
They got you. Those targeted ads, man.
Yeah, they know me. They know me.
They get you. Jay says Atlanta is going to have to pay the Vikings to take him back. Okay, we won't say.
Kirk's kids got tortured. I saw. That's terrible.
What
Someone said Kirk's kids probably got tortured at school in Atlanta.
Oh gosh.
I would hope they were at private school, but I'm sure it's still got a little hate.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. We will. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's move on, because there is some other rumors today. The one that is also popping off today, at least that I've seen it pick up steam today, is the Justin Herbert rumor that potentially they could trade JJ McCarthy to the Chargers, reunite him with Jim Harbaugh, his former coach in Michigan. And apparently, I think we learned this last year, that the Vikings had inquired about potentially getting Herbert. Do you think there's any potential credence to that, and that could have something to do with what's going on here?
I would hope not. I mean, someone talked about in the comments. We were talking about Kirk just a second ago, and I think it was Jay that said it. But we have to take on that contract. I mean, that Herbert's contract is just as steep. So I mean, I would assume we're going to have to take on some of that as well. Yeah, we got the cap space. They're pushing to the side. They got something up the sleeve, but not for Herbert. I would rather have Aaron Rodgers come in here and sign as a free agent than give up any sorts of draft stock and trade JJ McCarthy to the Chargers for Justin Herbert. And this may be a hot take, and that's fine. Justin Herbert sucks. I'm sorry. That dude doesn't excite me at all. It isn't just a playoff game that he played terrible in. It's just the
Right.
fact that he hasn't proven anything. He's a name. He come out of Oregon. He come out of a stacked offense that was a system that was built around him that made him look like a decent first round pick. Tyrod Taylor was about murdered from the trainer. That's how he got the start. They had to almost murder Tyrod Taylor in the locker room just to get this kid on the field. No, he talk about needle mover earlier. This dude is the opposite of that, and I'm probably getting some hate for that too, because I see a lot of folks on Twitter are Herbert fans apparently as well, even though they wear the purple. I don't see it. I don't see the fit. I mean, I know Kevin O'Connell could probably turn, he can make dog shit a quarterback if he wanted to, but I don't. Justin Herbert to me, it's just not. The mistakes he makes, I think he's beyond fixable. And he
Okay.
just some of the mistakes he makes being in the league, as long as he's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now. No, it's I'm good. I'm good on that. I hope that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
I don't know who's pushing that. I don't know if it's some burner account that Jim Harbaugh made or something, but I don't know where it's coming from. But I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen people talking about it, and I'm good. I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been peculiar to me how Justin Herbert just seems just I haven't watched a ton of him, admittedly, but it seems like he always in the media is always being discussed like he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks, or certainly definitely a top 10, but without ever having much success. And when I have watched him, he tends to blow games towards the end, or have a game similar when there's the pressure is on. I don't see him performing. And I know I've heard other people make this comparison, but I have noticed it. I compare it to almost like a Kirk Cousins, where I don't see that ability to rally at the end and produce the results. I just don't see that he would be, especially for the price tag, a guy that's going to make a ton of difference. I don't know if in that playoff game where Sam Darnold, you take the last 2 games, would Herbert come in and make a substantial difference? Would he be able to come in and win those games? I don't I don't feel strongly that that would have been a difference maker. So I don't know if you go that route and invest all that money. Um, Again, I'll trust KOC if that's what he wants to do. I would assume that they would get a pretty high draft pick if they did decide to swap JJ and send him over there, but it wouldn't be my preference for sure. But
Yeah. Agreed.
Sarah, what's up? I will for sure be at Skol Fest. So that would be so sweet of you if you did that. I would definitely look forward to meeting you. I saw Delton earlier say that I look good tonight for some reason, which might be the first time you've ever said something nice to me. So that's why I'm going to acknowledge it. Thank you very much. I missed something else funny in here, but I'm surprised to hear that so many people are defending Herbert on Twitter today, because I feel like, I don't know, Vikings Twitter is so polarizing because people don't want to spend money on X, Y, or Z, but then they will like advocate for spending an insane amount of money on somebody that they romanticize. Um, I don't really get it. But well, before we get into Rodgers, because that's everyone's favorite or least favorite topic, is there any QB2s who out of the controversial ones would be your preference at QB2?
QB2, I mean, the Kirk theory, it just kind of clicks for me. I know people hate on it and shit on it, but it's cool. Carson Wentz, um, as far as an asset, I mean, it kind of ends in the film room. He's going to contribute absolutely nothing in practice and especially game days. That's just my opinion, but I've seen a few things, behind the scenes of him with Mahomes in the film room, in Kansas City, and he seems like someone that would be helpful to a young quarterback starting for the first year. But it doesn't wow me. I don't know. And it's funny. We're talking about a QB2, and we're wondering if it should wow us or not. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's a backup quarterback. You just want somebody in there that's going to come into work and put the pads on and just be a cheerleader for the QB1 and not shit the bed if they have to go in. But that's the thing. I mean, I think we're so PTSD, especially McCarthy was hurt last year. I mean, what if something does happen? To me, I just want somebody in there that this team is just stacked and loaded. I know again it's on paper, but it's stacked and loaded. If something were to happen at the quarterback position, I feel like it'd be a wasted season. So if we had somebody in there that was formidable and could carry themselves and could, play halfway decent in big moments,
Mhm.
take advantage of that. So you talked about Cooper Rush. I think he got signed by Baltimore already, and that was kind of somebody I wouldn't mind picking up. But yeah, I mean they're all dwindling down. So
Right.
it's which just kind of brings me back to, are they going to really make a move at Kirk Cousins? So yeah, it's crazy.
Right. It's like I just said, I do have the confidence in KOC that he can make something happen. But then on the flip side, you think back and like, well, Jaron Hall, that obviously he didn't have the confidence he could make that work. And that's somebody he picked to draft in the 5th round. Josh Dobbs, yeah, that worked for a few weeks, but
That was fun. That was fun
yeah,
times.
one of
Yeah,
the most
that
fun
was.
times that I can recall. But it's Kellen Mond. When he took over, Kellen Mond was still here. So, and these guys are obviously not guys who are destined to be NFL starters, or of course, but we say, oh yeah, he can do anything with anybody, but that's not necessarily the case just because of what he just did with Sam Darnold. But I do trust his judgment and who he's going to pick at QB2. But at the same time, it's like, well, we'd like to get somebody serviceable. I think for me, with the improvements to the offensive line, that gives me more confidence that whoever were to come in at QB2, they would more likely to be able to have success, whether it's for a couple games or heaven forbid for more than that. I think Drew Lock could potentially be a good fit. I wouldn't mind seeing him come in. Tannehill, I guess, depending on what he would want as a veteran. And I know everyone really loves the idea of Flacco. I also love Joe Flacco, and he started out really good filling in for the Colts last year, but then that kind of fell off. I know there were additional injuries to the offensive line when that happened, but I don't know. I guess again, we're talking about QB2 here, so I always wonder if other franchises are as enamored with QB2s as we are. But all right, we got JB mentioning Russ Wilson. Surprising to me that he's not signed either. Uh, I know he met with the Browns. Like, what are the Browns going to do? Do we know anybody?
Yes, the Browns are sneaky to me because Miles Garrett, 2 weeks ago, wanted to get the hell out of there, and then they're like, "Oh, how about
Yeah,
$40 million?" And then that just changed his mind instantly. Which I can see $40 million changing someone's mind. But he was on NFL Network over the weekend. They asked him, "Hey, what's the plan? What they obviously, aside from the money that they just guaranteed you, like, what's the plan? What makes you intrigued and kind of change your mind and want to be there?" And he's like, "Oh, well, if we pull off what we're trying to pull off, I think we have a really good chance of winning some football games." And he's like, "Well, what's that plan?" He's like, "Well, I can't tell you that." I'm like, "Oh, dude, Aaron Rodgers, baby. Aaron Rodgers is going to Cleveland. Like, I can see it now." And no one agreed with that take either. But Russell Wilson, I think he's just kind of waiting on what Aaron Rodgers does. He's just going to get whatever Aaron Rodgers turns down, I guess. And between Pittsburgh or New York, maybe Cleveland, I don't know. But um, uh, it's interesting, and I mean it's fun to talk about, and that's what they want us to do. We're talking about it, and they want us to watch them talk about it. So it's
right.
clicks and views and shares and all that stuff, and like you said, I mean the QB2 option, and who else talks about this besides Minnesota fans?
I'm sure a
It's
lot
just
of yeah. I'm sure a lot of them do, but it's hard to believe that most of them do on this level. I mean, it's just I'm
I
sure the
guarantee you there's
Browns.
no Chief fan alive talking about QB2 right now.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And what a nice life to live, right?
Yeah.
Can certainly not relate. Can certainly not relate. I think, and I think too, Evil, after all of the great funny things that you have said tonight, I think I'm about to tell Dave to kick you out the chat, sir, because you have crossed the line with your Deshaun Watson take here. We can't
Oof.
have that. We can't have it. Let's see. Okay, well, Aaron Rodgers, I I wonder what's going on here. I feel like, and because supposedly the Steelers did make him an offer, but he's sitting on it. And I'm like, is he going to play this whole far? Like, is he going to mirror the Favre trajectory to the point of holding out through training camp and then then being like, oh, okay, I'll come in now, whether it's to the Steelers or whoever it may be, and then decide that he's ready to come in because somebody's still going to be offering him something by that point. Maybe he's just trying to get out of the training camp. But I will say I was enraged by the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Our pal Rap kind of softened me to the idea, so I don't think I'll fly off the deep end if it does happen. I'm still on in the camp of I don't think it's happening. It just doesn't make sense from a philosophical standpoint to me, from what I think this organization stands for culture wise, and where I see them building and trying to go. But I don't think I'll have a mental breakdown if it does.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, to me, I mean, if it wins as a Super Bowl, then I guess all our minds will change, and you know, we'll all be happy, and we'll all be like, "Oh, I told you so. I told you it was a good idea." As of right now, I don't, I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think there are conversations being had. I mean, it's taken this long. They haven't come out and shot anything down from from their side, so um, this talk is coming from somewhere, and his agent and his people are getting something, and that to able to keep putting fuel on the fire, and I think it's a discussion being had. And if you're Kevin O'Connell, I don't blame you. You have a chance, to win a franchise its first ever Super Bowl. You have a chance to be, the coach. I mean, obviously, all respect to Bud Grant, but you have a chance to be one of the best coaches in the history of the franchise early in your tenure. If you get the franchise its first ever Super Bowl, yeah, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about the chance to work with Aaron Rodgers. Like, aside from all the controversy and all the things that that come with Aaron Rodgers, he's still a very good quarterback as far as football smart. Yeah, he's 41 years old. He's older. He's not prime Aaron Rodgers. If this was 2019, I would be climbing the wall for Aaron Rodgers to come to Minnesota right now. But um, he's still football smart. He's still savvy. He's still very clever. He can still read defenses, like a book with his eyes closed. I mean, he's very smart. And so yeah, if you're Kevin O'Connell, you have the option, you have the opportunity, you have the chance to bring in Aaron Rodgers of all people.
right.
Yeah, I think you're gonna consider it. So I don't think it will happen, but I think it's still a possibility. So buckle up and just wait out this long, boring ride, and if it happens, it happens. It don't, it don't.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that there is some credence to it because of the Vikings just not coming out and saying like, "Hey, this isn't going to happen." I think it makes a lot of sense for them not to say that, at least from a ownership standpoint, and that's because I think we live in this bubble because we think as fans, because we follow all of this stuff so closely, that all fans do. And the reality is that most people are casual fans or just tune in when it's on national TV or whatever the case may be. And this is catching attention of all those casual fans, non-fans, NFL fans, and it's bringing a lot of traffic to their social media. It's bringing a lot of traffic to the website from the boomers and stuff that don't use social media. And as a result, they're also consuming the news of what else is happening in the offseason just by default because they're there to see what's going on because the Vikings aren't posting about Aaron. So they're seeing all this other stuff and that's generating buzz for the upcoming season, stuff that these casuals would have never seen. And all casuals really know about, hey, the Vikings were super good last year, and then their offensive line fell apart at the end. And hey, the Vikings just signed 2 pretty good offensive linemen. Okay, that's cool. That's something to be excited about. And so it just is, I think, creates. I don't think there's any negative from a business marketing standpoint in them not coming out and saying anything. I mean, anybody who's ever been to an NFL game or a Vikings game, you just listen to the conversations around you, and you know that a lot of people really got no clue what's going on, or who is on the roster, or who's good, or who's not, or who's new. So I think for them, from, like I said, the marketing standpoint, there's no real harm in all of this gossip going on, because Aaron Rodgers is a household name. So there's nothing really wrong with it from that point. But I do understand why fans are like, look, they would come out and say something. I just don't necessarily think that means anything. And I think from Aaron Rodgers' standpoint, business issues aside and agent wanting him in the news aside, we know Aaron Rodgers. There's no attention Aaron Rodgers doesn't like. I mean, he's on McAfee Weekly. He's got his Netflix docuseries. He likes to be a topic of conversation. So why would he say anything either?
Right. That's a very good point too. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers loves Aaron Rodgers. He loves him some Aaron Rodgers. So yeah. I mean, look, if it happens again, there's nothing we can do about it. That's why I told Rap, I was like, fuck, I won't do about it. I'm gonna call KOC,
Right.
And be like, what are you doing? So no, I mean, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be repping the purple, but I don't know. The main thing, and I brought this up on Rap Show, and I'll say it again, but the only reason why I'm against bringing anybody in here as a QB1 option over JJ is that, you go back to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love was drafted. He sat behind Rodgers for 3 seasons, and then Rodgers leaves.
Mhm.
Jordan Love had 7, 8 pretty good games, and then they're forced to pay him all this money, and now it's
Right.
questions about if he's even good. Like, he's not elite, he's not great, he's decent, but he's not. To me, he's not a championship caliber quarterback. Will he mold into that? Maybe, probably, but they're still paying him a pile of money, hoping that it works out. I want
Mhm.
to see what JJ McCarthy has right now. I don't want to see, McCarthy come in year 3, or, and have, a few good games, and it's like, oh, well, fourth year, lame duck. Do we use the option, or do we just go ahead and pay him? More than likely, they're going to go ahead and pay him. What if it don't work out? I want to know now. Like, if
Right.
JJ McCarthy is a dog, I let the dog off the porch. Just go ahead and put him out there, and let's see what he does. But again, at the end of the day, Skol, I'll be here watching every Sunday, and regardless of who's playing quarterback. So it is what it is.
I agree with you. I think that that's absolutely, you got to see what you got. You have to have the evidence, because come sooner. I mean, you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to decide, do you want to sign a 5th-year option? Do you want to end up paying? And you've got to have enough evidence to see that. And maybe they could take another year before they start looking at that evidence, but it's almost like, well, why wait that much longer if he's ready to go? Unless you think that your quarterback, or your Super Bowl window is wide open right now with the improvements that you made. You made the wild card. You won 14 games last year. You made the playoffs. You made these improvements specifically in the trenches. You think that would get you over the hump if you had a quarterback that was serviceable, and you don't think JJ is going to be there yet. Well, if that's the case, then I don't really necessarily see the point in just leaving him on the bench when you certainly need some draft picks. Like, if you're win now and you think you can win this year, then I don't know. But I don't know. It's complicated, but I feel like you need the assets. You don't have any draft picks. So there's just so many scenarios. There's so many scenarios that could happen. I am surprised we're in this situation this deep into free agency, and we're even contemplating that this could happen, to be honest. But
yeah, it's almost poetic. It's, and you talk about the Favre thing and following Favre, and it's like, it was a joke when he went to the Jets. Oh, is he going to come to Minnesota? And it's like, oh fuck, he's coming to Minnesota. Like, it's just crazy how we've come, the last 2 seasons. But
right.
here we are.
I agree with you. Well, we got to start wrapping up because believe it or not, we already been chatting over an hour and we've had
Oh
over
wow.
100 people in here for the majority of the night. So, you guys, I really appreciate you being here. This is the most I've had in here for a while. I do want to mention, though, the points that we have referenced in Rap. If you haven't checked out his recent shows, please go look at them because he did have some good Aaron Rodgers points, as much as I hate to say it. He kind of, like I said, he softened me on the idea. But before we leave, I also wanted to ask you, is there, because wide receiver 3, everybody loves to talk about wide receiver 3 because there's still some names out there. Is there anybody you would like to see the Vikings sign there?
It was definitely Cup. It was definitely Cooper Cup, man.
Yeah.
I was really hoping he would come back and get with KOC, and he really hasn't been the same. I mean, he's still good. He's still made a career, but since Kevin O'Connell left and took the job with us, he hasn't been Cooper Cup. But he decided to roll with the money, go to Seattle. I think he's from Washington, so good for him. But after that, I guess that's it. I mean, I guess we roll with
Wow.
Naylor. I'm not a Naylor hater. I love Naylor. I just, I mean, they say, they call him Speedy. I feel like you got to get open a little bit more with a nickname like that. But
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that drop last year, like on the goal line, I'll never forget it. Oh,
yeah,
brutal.
yeah, yeah. You gotta catch that. You gotta lock in. So. But no,
Yeah.
we roll with Naylor. It's cool. I mean, Rondell Moore visited, and I mean that was, that kind of perked me up a little bit. I mean, he'd be probably a wide receiver 3. He'd probably challenge for that spot, but then he went across the street and met with Chicago. So who knows what he's going to do now? But I guess we just roll with Naylor. I guess we just roll with what we got, and
Yeah.
I mean it worked for the most part last year. So run it back, I
Yeah.
guess.
I think we're still waiting to see what ends up happening with Jordan Addison if he does get a suspension for his off season antics this past year. If he did end up getting a three game suspension, though, they're really thin at wide receiver, so
Yeah,
that would that would be tough. I am happy for Sam Darnold that he at least gets another resource in Seattle with Cooper Kupp since they had traded away the wide receivers before he got there. So hopefully that will work out for him. I think for me, the one that I would probably like to see maybe Keenan Allen because he did have 20 touchdowns last year for Chicago. But I guess it depends on the price tag too for that. So
yeah. I think he wants money, and rightfully so. He had a good season last year, even though they didn't have a great season overall.
mhm.
Keenan Allen balled out. So I'm reading a lot of things with him. He either wants to go back to California or he just wants to stay in Chicago. But if he were to come in, yeah, upgrade automatic. I mean, like I said, you don't know what you're going to do with Addison as far as if he's going to get suspended if he does. And then you also got to look down the road. I mean, are you gonna extend Addison, which is maybe a conversation for another day. But you know, um,
Mhm.
you already got Jefferson; he's already making money. Are you gonna extend your wide receiver too? The Bengals did it, but they don't have a team anywhere
Oh,
else on the
I
roster.
know.
But
I can't believe
it's
they did it.
just I know. I mean, R.I.P. to Joe Burrow. I mean, he's got no offensive line, but
Still,
he's got
still.
two
Made
two
it in.
two mega millionaires running down the field. Good for him. But yeah, I mean, it's it. I mean, it's an important. It's only important because Jordan Addison can't stop, driving stupid. So, if someone would just take his keys, we would never have to worry about who's going to be wide receiver 3. But leave it up to Minnesota to worry about a wide receiver 3 and a QB 2 because
Right, always.
this is despite the success, stupid shit happens. So, yeah, that's the life of being a purple guy, I reckon.
Always. Some stuff just never
Yeah,
goes out of style. You can always count on certain things to happen,
yeah,
and it almost
yep,
feel I think people don't feel, they feel like things are out of whack when there's not these controversies, so I guess at least they're consistent, but tell people where they can check out your YouTube, where they can follow you on Twitter, and all that stuff.
yeah. My Twitter is just VIKERR on X, VIKERR with two R's. Same with YouTube, VIKERR on YouTube. If you, I've had a few subscribers popping up, so as I was on live, so shout out to everyone who's subscribing. I appreciate it. It's been kind of kind of did for a while. Just kind of I got into this funk. I just couldn't bring myself to do content for a while once the season got started. Just more mental. Just needed a break. I was getting burned out. Work was getting crazy too, and also coach youth football as well. So it was getting a little busy around here. But Rap has been telling me to get my ass back on YouTube and put some content out there. So he ain't ever steered me wrong. So I'm excited to say I'm going to start putting out more content. I'm hoping to record something Friday and upload it on YouTube over the weekend. So we're making a comeback. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. It's just VIKERR on YouTube, and then on Twitter it's VIKERR on X. And give me a follow. I try to follow everybody back on Twitter. So.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Everybody like and subscribe if you aren't already. Travis, it was so nice to meet you. I'm glad that hopefully off season, we got to have this amusement park chat because people are obviously very into it.
Yeah.
And everybody, make sure you tune into the Real 4-0 show tomorrow night here on Vikings First and Skol. Daniel, I saw this before I signed off. Was Sal Spice a Spice Girl fan? I mean, have you seen my hair? I think that should be your answer. Jerry Halliwell, obviously. But yeah. All right, guys, everybody have a great night. I will see you here next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Skol.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a big shout out goes to Sal and her guests on this Vikings First and Skol production, partnered with the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks, everyone, and Skol.